So welcome to this presentation of Dynamics 365 for Marketing. My name is Jesper Osgaard, I'm from Microsoft. I'm excited to be your host in this presentation of Dynamics 365 for Marketing, in which I'll be covering some of the core components of this app. For each component that I cover, I will walk you through one or more examples. And these examples you can actually find in my blog for more details and if you want to try them out yourself. Dynamics 365 is a marketing automation application. It will help you turn your prospects into business relationships. It's actually built on the same platform as Dynamics 365 for Sales, and it's got built-in business intelligence powered by our Customer Insights Cloud. The core components of Dynamics 365 let you create customer journeys, email marketing templates included, abundant of those, so you can create nice looking and attractive emails. You can score your leads, you can do behavioral tracking, so you can adjust the efforts that you do with the app, and much more. It even includes an event management set of capabilities, and a portal in which your prospects can discover and register for the sessions that you set up in the event module. The Dynamics 365 app also gives you powerful interaction insights powered by the Customer Insights Cloud, and that feature will let you, do interaction timelining and even smart segmentation, in which you can combine various profiles and entities into the most targeted segments, so you can be optimum in your efforts in your marketing. The app is one of the first apps that is featuring the new crisp UI from Microsoft that is very responsive and adaptive. And here we are in one of the new dashboards, in which we have a list of customer journeys to the left, and some widgets in the middle, and some tiles to the right. So you will have an overview of the customer journeys that you built for this app. I can navigate to the lead dashboard using the dashboard selector at the top, and see here are the leads that I've gathered so far from events, from landing pages, and other places. We can expand the sitemap as well, and for instance navigate down to the customer journey areas, and if we click the little arrow, we'll expand the list below to see a short list of the 3 most used or recently used customer journeys that I worked with. And if I click, say, the top one, I can navigate to the canvas. But on the canvas, you can design the path that you want to take your customers down, and using the components to the right, and we'll get back to that in an example a little later. I can also, navigate using the sitemap to the other sections or modules in this application. For instance, the event module. Here we are with a sitemap showing us what's included with the event module, and we can also, navigate to the recently used or composed event, which is the Contoso Limited Conference. Customer Journeys, as you just saw, is powered by a very intuitive canvas, letting you design the steps and path that your contacts will follow according to the interactions that they have with the messages or landing pages that you bring to the campaign. So there is a graphical drag and drop designer, and I call it the canvas. And the way we navigate to the canvas is expanding the sitemap and then go to customer journeys. And we'll be presented with a grid of the customer journeys that we've worked with so far. Some of them will be stopped, some of them will be in draft mode, some of them will be live. And a live customer journey is one that's just sitting there waiting for new contacts to enter the dynamic segments that you created for this campaign. If I click new to the top, I'll be presented with a set of customer journey templates, one of them being a blank, another one being a simple customer journey. There's also event journeys. And if I go with, say, the simple one at the bottom and say OK, I will see a very simple journey with a segment to the left and an email following. So that will be, an email that will be sent to all the members of the segment to the left, and we'll come back to segments. So oftentimes you want to send someone an email, and depending on what they do, you want to send them down one path or down another path. And that's solved by triggers. So we can go to the toolbox to the right and drag in a trigger tile. So here are the tiles that we've included in the toolbox. We have a component sections with tiles or channels rather from email, landing pages, events, survey tiles. We also have an action sections in which you can devise which activities want to go where. For instance, if a lead becomes sales ready, we can create an activity in a salesperson's calendar, for instance. Then there's the segments, the target tiles that we can, include segments that we need to do that. We can also react on changes to records in the journeys. And last but not least, the flow controls that allows us to send the contacts down different branches depending on criteria, or just if we want to split, so 50-50 goes one way and another way. The marketing emails is obviously one of the core components in this app. We want to create attractive emails, personalized emails, so the recipients will do what we want them to do. And we have a designer that is very intuitive and in which you can create emails based off of templates or even from scratch. And all the templates are carefully designed to look great on virtually every device. So we have a drag and drop designer, we have templates. The preview section is actually a rich one. We have an ISV called Litmus included in the app, so you can literally verify how your email will look on any given device. There's an HTML editor, so if you prefer to work with the emails in HTML, you can do so. And then there's a very important component in the app called the automated error checking. So you can ensure that your emails are compliant before you send them out, and so you don't violate anything. Here we are in the customer journey, and if we go to the site map, you've seen this a while, but this is a few times before, but this is how you navigate. So you navigate to the emails grid, and if you want to create a new email, you click new. If you want to work with one of the existing ones, you open the record, just like you would do in any ordinary CRM system. And we click new, and we see the select an email template dialog, and we'll get back to the templates in a while. For this example, we will create an email off a blank template, so to speak. And here we are with an empty canvas, and we see to the right that we can drag in placeholders for text, images, and a bunch of other things. So let's just bring in an image box as well as a text box and work from there. The moment we bring in a text box, we are presented with a floating toolbar for configuring what the text should be and formatting the text. One of the buttons on that toolbar is the Assist Edit button, allowing you to insert merge fields or dynamic fields, whatever you prefer to call it. So let's get rid of the existing text that the block added. Let's delete that and replace it with the text "Dear." And then we want the first name of the contact, the recipient, to be following the term "Dear" here. So we click the Assist Edit button, and that brings us to a drop-down that allows us to insert dynamic fields based off of various things, one of them being the contact. It could also be from the content settings in the app. So I'll pick the contact, and via the intelligence piece, we could actually start typing first name, but we could also pick from the drop-down all the fields that's available for us for the contact here. So we go with the first name, and we have a dynamic field inserted. We could type that ourselves if we wanted to do so, but here's the Assist Edit to the rescue if we want to do it like this. So let's go for the image block. Let's pick an image to insert above the text "Dear," and we go to the properties pane to the right and pick an image from the image chooser, and we'll go with the picture of this bridge, and we have the beginning at least of a nice looking email here with a bridge on top and the text "Dear" something underneath. Let's type in a bit more really quick, and returning to the topic of required fields, we need to include the physical address of our company, and that's also done via the assist edit button. I'll do this a little quick. And last but not least, we need to include our subscription center. So every contact needs to have the option of unsubscribing from emails. That is the law. So we'll insert a placeholder text. Here's where you manage your subscriptions or something like that. And selecting that text and going to the toolbar, clicking the link button. We'll be presented with, again, the Assist Edit button, so we can, do a link off of this. And clicking this guy will present us with the similar options we saw before. This time we'll pick the content settings, because the content settings holds our subscription center, which is basically a landing page. And we will pick that guy and say OK. And we now have a link for the recipient to click if he or she wants to unsubscribe from our marketing emails. So we also need to, specify a subject as well as naming the email. We now have something that, with the design capability that I have, I think it looked good. Could probably look better, but maybe I want to check this guy for errors and then see how it will look in a recipient's inbox, for instance, mine. So I go to the top and check for errors, and this is where you'll be presented with the status of errors. So if there was any errors, you will see them here. I know there's none, and that's just exactly what it says. Now, one of the nice features here is that we can do a test send with impersonation. So if I click at the test send command at the top, I have a test send pane to the right, and I can send it to myself. It's my email at the top. But I can impersonate any of the contacts in my system. And let me impersonate the contact Karen Borger here. And the email goes off. It hits my iPhone 7. And here's a screenshot of my iPhone 7. This is how it would look in my inbox if I was Karen. This says "Dear Karen," right? So coming back to the email, some people are very skilled and proficient in HTML, so they want to prefer working with emails like this in HTML. Some companies even have nice looking templates already, and they can import those templates into Dynamics 365 for marketing on the HTML tab. So if we navigate to the HTML tab, we'll see the HTML behind this email. We've talked about previews a few times, and the preview tabs is one in which you can do basic previews. Here's a tablet in landscape mode. I can also preview how would this look on a phone device in portrait mode. But this is not very it's indicative, so to speak. So if we go to the inbox preview tab, here's the Litmus integration that we provided you with. So we have 100 credits ready for you, so you can decide if you want to, check how this would look on, for instance, an iPhone 7. So you decide that you want to consume one of your credits for the iPhone 7 device, if most of your customers or recipients have a device like that, you would assume. So I say yes, and that credit is now consumed, and I can do the preview for this particular device, and this is how it looks. You saw that already, because I do in fact have an iPhone 7 myself. The templates we can pick from are professionally designed. There's a lot of them, so most of the times you don't want to build your emails from scratch. You want to, at least use one of the templates as a foundation. And they, in fact, include all the required fields, so you don't need actually to do the error checking. Of course, you can do, but here is a list of what's required in an email like this, a commercial email, and these templates will include those already. So back to the marketing email script. I click New again, and I get the Select Template dialog you saw before. And you can see 9 of the templates here already. We can scroll down a bit and see 9 more. And there's a lot of them actually. And I can scroll back to the top and say, hey, I wanna work this time with the one called Capri. There's lots more further down this email. We'll take a look at that in a moment. So I actually worked with this email in an existing campaign, and we can take a look at what I did. Not much actually. I changed the background color and updated summer 27 to summer 28, and I inserted a few dynamic fields as we're supposed to. And I sent this email off to one of my contacts, Sven Mortensen, and in his inbox, the email, if you scroll down, it would look like this. And at the top of the email, you see a button that people can click, just pointing that out, because we will get back to that little ingredient in just a few seconds, because we can actually track if people opened emails, if they clicked the buttons or the links in the email, and learn from that going forward. With that said, we have a ton of insights readily available. Nearly every form in the application has an insight side to it, and it's accessible from the form selector at the top. So if I navigate to the form selector at the top, there's an insight command that takes me to the insight side of the form here. So here's the form, the insights rather, for this email. And I can see how many times it was opened. I can see the unique clicks, and I can scroll down a bit. Even see where in the world someone clicked this email. And if I go back to the top, I can navigate to the delivery tab and see status of deliveries, how many bounced, how many was delivered. And if I go to the links tab, I can see heat maps of where people, or rather if people clicked the links in the email. So navigate down a bit. We see statistics here for the links in the email and the heat maps depicting, so to speak, how often this link was clicked. Here we are with the link at the top. I pointed out before, it's been clicked 4 times. Actually only one unique click, that would be Sven, my recipient. So let's scroll back up, and we can navigate further to the Interactions tab, in which we have a timeline of all the interactions with this email. It was sent out, it was opened, links was clicked. So we have a complete track of what was going on, or what has been going on with this email, and can learn from that. So that was basically an introduction to the marketing email. And as I said, most of the examples here you can do yourself if you head to the blog post that I author and I walk through the examples there. So marketing pages is an equally important component in the app. And this is where you want to send your target audiences to in order for them to click something, or even provide you with additional information about themselves. The concept of working with marketing pages is much the same as working with emails. You have a designer, and you have a bunch of templates you can work from. Some of the marketing page types is landing pages. This is one of the more common usages of marketing pages. You want to create a page with a form on it, and have your audience type in information there, for instance, to get a download. There's also subscription centers, so you can expose the marketing lists or other lists that the recipient is part of for them to unsubscribe from, or you can offer them to be members of new lists. There's also forward to a friend pages, so we can keep track of if a recipient forward this email or landing page to someone else, and you can add them to your segment. And then there's the HTML editor in the marketing pages as well. So here we are in the grid, the marketing grid, email grid that we left off of from before. So navigate to marketing pages this time at the bottom, and that will land us in the active marketing pages. And I have a couple of marketing pages that I worked with before, some of them active, some of them not. And I can create a new one based off of one of the templates, for instance, this guy with the spring sale here. And if I click insert, I will get this marketing page into my designer. And the thing I want to do now is actually add a form to this marketing page. And we have a bunch of forms. I won't be covering those much, but it's the same concept. We have forms sitting in another segment of the UI, and you design your forms, and you can leverage those forms across landing pages. So I want to insert now a form on the form placeholder on this landing page here. So I navigate down to see the form placeholder, and on the properties tab to the right, I can point out that I want to leverage one of the pre-designed forms in my application. So here it is. So the visitors to this page will see this form, this page, and can provide me with the information that I ask for here if they choose to do so, and then register. And we can trigger off of that interaction. We'll get back to that. So I also need to specify the message I want to provide the visitor with if the registration failed. If I navigate to the summary tab, and we'll get back to this tab, please see the little arrow at the top pointing to the partial URL. This is the URL that you will specify, and this will be part of the full URL that we see to the lower left in the content section. Get back to that. The page right now is in draft mode, and it won't be visible to anyone before we do error checks and go live with it. And let's just go live, and the page is now live. So having a page live, it will also bring us insights, and here's a page that I've had in live state for a while, and we can check the insights behind this page. So let's navigate to the summary tab to the right of the first tab, and on the content section to the lower left, there's a full URL. That is the full URL to the portal that is included with the app, as well as the partial URL here. And here is our page. And this is how it would look for any visitor. And the visitor can key in information about themselves and register, and we will pick that up. So we can actually navigate, to the insights page of this landing page, and we can see statistics for visitors or form clicked, unique submissions, and so on and so forth. And we can, navigate to the summary tab, and we can see there was at least one visitor we know, Lily Broberg. And we can go to the visits tab, and we can see the flow that she went from anonymous to known the moment we matched her up with an existing contact. So the form she filled out her name, and we could match her up with an existing contact, and that will sort of enable us to do more specific marketing. Okay, so landing pages. Your audience needs to be aware of the landing pages, right? So you can send them an email with a link to a landing page. And here we are in a customer journey designed for encouraging people to download, for instance, a white paper. So we have a segment and then an email, say get the download. And then we have a trigger that reacts to the interaction. So if someone click the download link, we will send them a new email with the actual link, and if they don't, we'll wait a while and send them a reminder. That's actually a very common way of gating white papers, for instance. At the center of the screen, here's the trigger tile, and if you look to the right, we can see that this is where you define the rules, and these rules become available when you add a landing page to the mix. And if I click or expand rather the email tile, we'll see that there is a subtile with a landing page placeholder in it. And that landing page is the one I designed before. So this is how you do it. On the email tile of a customer journey, you add a landing page tile. And then, of course, you need to ensure that in the email you have a link or a button that people can click to access that landing page. So the email itself is get the download, and we can actually access that email from the Properties tab, so we can click that and see how this is solved. In the actual email, I have a button that will take the visitor or the recipient of this email to the landing page, and that landing page is specified in the properties for that actual button. So this is how you would leverage landing pages in emails. So even customer journeys will provide you with insights. So if I have a customer journey and I go to the insights side of this form or canvas, there is a few inconspicuous orange numbers at the top that will just tell you how many contacts went into this customer journey. But if I click the email, I'll get a data tab to the right with statistics, and I can see at least one of the 38 recipients opened the email, 2 didn't open yet, and 35 wasn't delivered actually because they are fake contacts. So here is the inbox of Svend Mortensen, the one who actually opened the email with the get the download email and the button at the right. He can click to actually download the white paper, right? So I can click view details at the button to get even more statistics about the interactions with the landing page and the email. And I can go to the interactions tab and I can get a full timeline of which email went out, which form was accessed, which landing page was accessed, and what was submitted. A very insightful piece of information for me. So marketing pages and email was very important, but equally important is like the lead scoring elements of this app, because lead scoring is relevant in many ways. One of them being that we want to sell the most qualified leads to our salespeople to work with, and even more important, we don't want them to work with leads that are not important for us and waste their time there. So we need to come up with a paradigm for scoring leads, and that's what we can do here. It's based off of conditions and actions, right? So we have rules to increase or decrease score, and that will allow you to add grades to the leads. You can specify that scores in a range from 0 to something would be hot, and from another range to another range will be cold, and so on and so forth. And you can label the leads, and you can ensure that only the hot leads are forwarded to salespeople. We also have a special flag called sales ready. Depending on the score of a lead, if it crosses an upper boundary, you will label it as sales ready, and the system will automatically start a workflow that will send the lead to salespeople if you prefer to do so, right? So here is the landing page that we saw a few times already. On the summary page, you can see that there is actually to the right the link, the lead, Lily Broberg, as well as another actor. Lily Broberg is a Danish actor. I'm sure most of you didn't know that, but Marlon Brando is also an actor. So we have 2 leads like Lily Broberg, and if I click that lead, we're taken to the lead form in the system. A very nice new designed form with the new design business process flow to the top. So here's the process that we will follow working leads, and currently the lead is just entering our system. If we scroll down a bit, let me just start by pointing out that the lead score at this point in time is 70, and I'll get back to why it's 70 and what we want it to be. So let's scroll down a bit and see that we have at the very lower left corner, we have the lead that had specified that she is from Denmark. She didn't specify anything in terms of which city she comes from. So that is actually the target of this lead scoring model. We will score based on city as well as country. So the lead scoring model, which is called Lyngby Denmark, is composed of two conditions, one for country and one for city. It's the way you design lead scoring models is by designing a condition. So in this case, I'm designing a condition saying if the country on the lead form is Denmark, I will award a certain amount of points, 70. And if we navigate to the top, we can also see the text edition of this lead scoring model. And in this text edition, we see that the second condition is that we will award points also if the country is Lyngby, and that we will award 40 points for that. And we can actually decide that if a lead crosses 100 points, we will consider this lead sales ready. So if we come back to the lead and verify on the process that the second stage is talking to the fact if the lead is sales ready or not, and we can verify that it's not ready yet because the score is below 70. The moment it crosses 100 points, it will be sales ready, and the system will take care of that by itself. So let's do just that. Let's add Lyngby to this lead, and the lead score is now 110. And if you look to the top, the process is updated. It's actually very qualified now, and the sales people can take over on this lead. So if we go to the Insights tab, we can get lots of insights on what's been going on with this lead. There's not much going on actually, but if we scroll down a bit, this little pie chart will actually start reflecting if Lily receives email, opens them, and so on and so forth. And to the left, we have the lead score as it progresses. If we had more lead score models with points in them, we will see more graphs in the which is to the left. So a lead is scored against all lead scoring models actually. So that was lead scoring. One of the very, very well received modules in this app is the event management module. And that lets you plan and promote events and lets you publish these events to the portal that we give you with the marketing app. So you design an event in the forms that you know already, and the moment you publish the event, it will be readily available on the portal that's included in Dynamics 365 for marketing for the visitors to start discovering and registering for sessions. So let's navigate to the event section or module of this app and open the Contoso event. And there's a set of tabs that we can work with. The first one being the general tab, in which we can specify the venue that we plan to hold the event in and other pieces of initial information. Then we can navigate to the agenda tab. And on the agenda tab, we have sessions, the sessions that we will be offering during this event. And we can also, organize these sessions into tracks and allocate speakers for the sessions, just like you would expect, actually. If we scroll back up and go to the Organize tab, we'll see more details about the venue. You probably organized a few venues or events yourself, and it's important that you have a full view of which room is available, if they got AV equipment in it, if they are accessible for disabled people, and so on and so forth. There's also capacity and other pieces of important details, metadata for this. We can also navigate to registration and attendance and see, for instance, if we want to specify passes and the price of passes, if it's an event that you need to have some financials included. And also a nice little additional feature, custom registration fields. So you can actually add fields to the registration form on the portal. So if an attendee or a visitor actually decides to register for an event, they can tell you, for instance, what size of T-shirt they want from you, and if they're vegetarians, and so on and so forth. So you can add custom registration fields to the registration here. And if it's a thing you need to, do finances around, you can specify the numbers that you want to shoot for in terms of revenue and cost. Coming back to the general tab, let's have a little peek at the business process that's included with the event management. So these are the stages and steps in order to ensure that the event is going to be successful. And then you can specify time and date and so on and so forth. And next up will be deciding about sessions and so on and so forth. So all the steps here need to be taken, and you can ensure that you work those in a timely and logical manner. Like I said, the moment you publish your event, it's available on the portal that's included out of the box. So here is the event we just saw, Contoso Limited Conference with date and venue, as well as pictures of the speakers. They can also have logos for sponsors and everything. So any visit to this page, one you probably mailed and wanted them to be aware of the fact that you have a nice upcoming event, would navigate to this page and start discovering sessions, and the sessions you designed or configured in the event form you just saw will be readily available to check and discover here. You can, at the moment you want to do the registration piece, you can go to the registration and sign up with your personal information, as well as if you wanted to tell us about which size of T-shirt you want, as well as if you're a vegetarian, the custom registration field that you saw before. And if someone signs up, we can go back and see on the registration and attendance tab at the bottom, everyone will be given a registration code. We will actually generate a QR code for them, and we can see that there's already one who registered, Karen Borger, and she was kind enough to let us know what kind of size of T-shirt you want, as well as if you was a vegetarian or not. So this is how we keep track of the registrants. So that was event management, and we've talked a bit about the segmentation capabilities of the app, or we've seen that the customer journeys always starts with a segment tile, and this is where you define the target groups that is supposed to go down the path that you designed for them for this campaign. The segment tile can include one or more sub-segment tiles, and you can do unions of those or exclusions, whatever fits your need. And the way you design a segment is basically powered off of the customer insights behind the customer insights cloud that we have behind. So let's take a brief look at how we could build a segment where we wanted to, start off with the context that we have from Austria, the country Austria. We want to do a union with the context we have from Paris, the city of Paris, and we want to exclude, for now, the two contacts that is working for Fabricam, one of the Fabricam subsidiaries, right? So let's start with building the segment for the Austrian. So we go to segments and we hit new, and first off we need to name the segment. We don't allow spaces in the name, so you can leverage underscores. Perhaps provide a little description of the segment, and then go to the definitions tab, and this is where you will be presented with three sub-tabs: the designer, the flow, and the query tab. And you can leverage those as you see fit, one being more complex than the other. The query one is the more complex one. But let's start off of the designer tab and say, hey, I want all the contacts in which the country region is Austria. That's pretty basic, right? So we've now created a segment of contacts from Austria. From that segment, or to that segment, we want to do a union with contacts from the city of pairs. And just for the sake of the example, we'll go to the Flow tab to build that addition to the segment. So on the Flow tab now we see that we have an initial segment of contacts from Austria. Let's click Union, and then there's a little visualization of which entities you can leverage in this union here. But let's go with the contact and scroll down a bit and specify that city should be Paris, and add that to the segment. And we now have a nice visualization of an initial segment and a green addition to that segment, right? So for the exclude piece, let's go back to the designer sub-tab and click Add Group, just to show how you can work with this any way you see fit. Let's add a group. Let's specify that it's not a union now, it's an exclusion. And it changes the color to let you know that this is actually you excluding some of your contacts from this segment, right? So let's go for the accounts that has a name that contains Fabricam. So if you noticed before, we had two, Fabricams. We have Inc. and Residences. So we're leveraging the contains operator here. And then for this, we need all contacts of the parent company. And now we have our exclusion built out. And just to, enjoy the nice visualizations of the Flow tab, we can head there and see that there's now a few contacts that is actually taken out of this segment. Let's go to the Query tab. This is actually where you can, if you know your way around segmentation, you can type in the queries yourself, or even verify that this is the query string for this segment for now. So let's do some error checking. There's no errors in this. It's built out correctly. So we go live with the segment, and the segment is now live. And if I navigate to the Members tab, you will notice that I have 6 contacts out of the initial 8 I pointed out at the beginning of this example. So it excluded the Fabricam ones from the Parisians and the Austrians here. Very, very nice way to build dynamic segments. And the segments, I think it's 100 you can have live at any current time. And they will just sit there and monitor if new contacts will fit a segment, and then send them down the journeys you specified. Last but not least, we have a few things. You saw me at the very beginning pick an image for the image placeholder in the email. We had a little feature for you in which you can, upload images from your hard drive or other places to the app. I have a few of them already. If you click New, actually let's just navigate to Active Files first. And if you click New, you'll be presented with an upload dialog. You can drag, or you can just click Explore and go to File Explorer and do the upload from there. I did that already. I have a file here called Dynamic Lawn. And if I open the file, you see there is a preview as well as keywords to the right. So these keywords is for you to label the graphics, so the ones who design the emails can discover applicable graphics for emails, or landing pages for that sake. I talked a bit about the portal that we include. So all landing pages and events go to the portal, and we can monitor what goes on there, obviously. But if you want to monitor other websites than the ones on our portal, or your portal rather, you can specify in the UI what URL you want to monitor, and then have us generate a JavaScript for you. So let's navigate to the website's grid and create a new one. So here's now a new website. Actually, the blog I talked a bit about, I'll give you the link at the end, I know. But here it is. I started monitoring that. So I key in the URL for this blog and save, and then I get a JavaScript at the lower left, in which I can inject to the web page and start tracking visits to this page and do an intelligence based off of that. So we've seen a bunch of core components of this app in this presentation. We've seen the email and customer journey pieces. We've seen the marketing pieces. We've seen how insights is omnipresent during all forms in the app. We've seen how you build out segments. We have a bunch of resources for you. We have Dynamics on Microsoft.com with the sort of overview of the app. We have more details on Docs on Microsoft.com with basic tutorials and advanced tutorials. There's an internal site for Microsoft. It's called the Dynamics Hub. And then there is the blog that I talked about a bit in this presentation, Lystavlen on TechNet, where you can find, extensive examples on the topics we covered. So thank you for watching this presentation. My name is Jesper Osgaard. I'm from Microsoft.